Good morning friends. Today we will be discussing about ankle sprain. Ankle sprain is the most common ankle injury. And ankle sprain usually occurs due to inversion injury. So the foot will turn like this because of any reason to cause an ankle sprain. Now let's talk about the anatomy once. So this is the lateral malleolus from here to here. And there is a ligament which goes from here to here, which is called as an anterotalofibular ligament. There is a ligament from here to here that is called as a calcaneofibular ligament, and there is a ligament from here to here that is called as a posterotalofibular ligament. Now this ligament, which is when you see from there, it's a horizontal ligament. This is the ligament which is the 90% injured ligament. Occasionally when the injury is very severe, you may have injury in the calcaneofibular ligaments. Now the mechanism of injury is usually it cannot tear in a neutral position. It will tear, it will become tense when it is vertical like this, and then the foot will invert like this. So when the foot will invert in this position, in a flexed position, when the foot is flexed, inversion or supination injury will cause a rupture or tear of this ligament, which is called as the anterotalofibular ligament complex. And if the injury is very severe, as I told you, the injury will extend to the calcaneofibular ligament. So now, when there is an injury, the most common diagnostic feature is you cannot elicit injury and you cannot make the diagnosis on the acute injury, because there will be a lot of swelling here. You will not be able to make a exact diagnosis and the patient will not allow you to touch. So the best thing is to wait for about 5 to 6 days, do a delayed primary examination, and call the patient back at about 5 to 6 days. For the initial period, if the patient comes to you just after injury, you can advise him rest, you can do ice application, elevation, and a little bit of compression. So that is called as a RICE therapy. So RICE therapy for initial 4 to 5 days, and then we call the patient back for an examination at about 5 days. At initial presentation, we'll just do a regular X-ray. And we'll check the patient back at about 5 days, 4 to 5 days. This is called as a delayed primary examination. And we check for 3 things. The first thing is a discoloration in this area, that is called as a hematoma discoloration. The second thing is localized tenderness to palpation in this area. And the third thing is the anterior drawer test. And if these 3 signs are positive, it is about 100% sensitive for this particular lateral ankle sprain. So this is about 100% sensitive and around 77% specific for the lateral ligamentous injury. So now I'll just tell you how do we perform a anterior drawer test. So this is very important. So anterior drawer test is performed with the foot in a relaxed position. Normally we keep the foot palmar flex at about 10 degrees of angle. We hold this hand like this, we hold the arm like this, and we try to move it anteriorly. And this is not a direct anterior translation. This is an anterior translation with an internal rotation, because most of these patients will have an intact medial deltoid ligament. So it is not a straight anterior drawer, but an anterior drawer with a little bit of internal rotation that we do. And we compare it with the normal side. So anterior drawer is a very sensitive and specific test to diagnose lateral ligamentous injury, along with tenderness to palpation on the lateral aspect of the malleolus and hematoma discoloration at 5 days. So at this point of time, if these 3 are positive, the patient is supposed to have a ATFL ligament injury, and ideally the recommended treatment is you need to start him with a functional rehabilitation. So what is functional rehabilitation? You can give the patient a simple ankle support or ankle wrap, and ask the patient to bear weight early and mobilize quickly in the brace. The patient is allowed to walk, but he has to be in the brace, and he is allowed to mobilize slowly over the period of 3 weeks. Now there is a little bit of controversy in that. Some people will advise a cast immobilization, but as per recent series, cast immobilization is not indicated, because at 3 weeks the results of functional rehabilitation is little better than a cast rehabilitation. Now the question comes, say the initial period of recovery is over, then what is the natural progression of this disease, or what will happen to this ankle over a course of time? So the good thing is, most of these patients, irrespective of the severity of the primary injury, will not need a surgical intervention later on. So I'll just summarize. Out of 100 patients, about 30 to 40% of patients will have a functional ankle instability. Now, what is the functional ankle instability? Functional ankle instability is basically an ankle instability without any mechanical instability. So, what happens is, there is a poor proprioceptive control, the response time of peroneus tendons are reduced, and so the patient will have a functional instability, which is not a true mechanical instability, because there is no anterior drawer which is positive after, say, 1 month or 2 months of time. So functional instability is the most common sequelae. So as I told you, about 30 to 40% of the total patient will have some kind of instability, out of which more than 50% is a functional ankle instability. So let's say approximately total 40% will have residual symptoms, out of which 20% of the patient, half of the patients, can be improved with a good rehabilitation, peroneus muscle training, and a proprioceptive training. So only about 15 to 20% of the patients will have actual symptoms of mechanical instability. What that means is, the patient will have a definite anterior drawer which is positive. As I told you, anterior drawer and slight internal rotation will be positive in less than 15% of patients, and out of these patients, only less than 10% patients would need some kind of a surgical intervention. The most common surgery which I perform is a modified Bostrom surgery, in which the ATFL ligament is advanced and occasionally the extensor retinoculum is also reinforced. So a Bostrom procedure or a modified Bostrom procedure is a very safe and secure procedure to treat problems of recurrent ankle sprains. So if you are having ankle sprains repeatedly, or if you are having problems with your ankle instability repeatedly, the best thing is to do a modified Bostrom procedure. The initial technique which was described was through transosseous sutures, but nowadays we are using two small anchors to do a modified Bostrom repair, and this has been a very successful surgery in our hands with good long-term results. Now occasionally there is one more thing that you must understand. As a sequelae of lateral ankle instability or ankle sprain, what happens is, this side of the ankle will elongate, and this will cause a compression injury to the medial side. So medial side, you can have problems over the tip of the medial malleolus and over the talar process. So compression injury, so traction injury on the lateral side and compression injury on the medial side is the norm, and occasionally these patients may have a delayed presentation of anteromedial spurs that can cause pain later on in the life. So if the patient is presenting late with an lateral ankle instability, like supposedly 2 years, 3 years after the injury, 4 years after the injury, you must rule out medial joint pain because of the anteromedial impingement phenomenon due to spur formation or cartilage injury, due to compression injury on the medial malleolus as well as the talar dome. So this is by and large a short purview about the lateral ankle instability. If you have any more questions, we will be very happy to answer. You can write those in comment box and we'll be very happy to answer the questions. We'll advise you to subscribe to our channel for similar videos. Thank you.